Good morning and welcome back to Ells Messages of Life. And first thing that came through this morning was fool's gold. So I thought, right, Spirit wants me to do another crystal reading, because if you follow me, can't speak this morning, follow me, I speak about crystals and my crystal journey and how I came across them and how beautiful they are and how they help us on our healing journeys. But yeah, fool's gold, and I thought, well, we are up to the letter F, because I'm going through the alphabet, and we are up to the letter F. But I was going to do fulgurite, which is a crystal that was struck by that formed by being struck by lightning. But I don't want to talk about fool's gold. And I thought, okay, Spirit, where's this going? Because it's not just about crystal, never is. And all that glitters ain't gold. Is that right? That came through? All that glitters isn't gold? That's saying. Yeah, saying. So there's a deeper message, but I will speak about crystal. But they want me to channel some cards, so let's see where this is going. It'll be interesting. Spirit always likes to keep me on my toes. So let's go. Yeah, it's a Mary Magdalene message. Straight away. And yeah, Mary Magdalene. Well, she got first, didn't she? She got her teachings was suppressed for, I'd say, quite some time, and they're coming back now. You only had to look on social media for the return of Mary Magdalene, the Rose Path, the Rose Lineage, Yeshua. I don't know where they're going with this. Yeah, so the church, the high establishment buildings, the hierarchy, patriarchy, all that, you know, control, power, suppression of the divine feminine energy. Mary Magdalene saying all that glitters isn't gold. So you know when you get told that going to these high establishments to pray and to worship is it's gold, you know. It'll save you, you know. All of that. Mary Magdalene's saying no. Yeah. I feel it was Mary coming through. There we go. So, thou that seek assistance to find themselves shall be given the key returning to freedom through thy sacred heart. And you know, all that glitters ain't gold, saying, you know, we've all grown up with that, I know I have, is exactly what I just said. You know, we don't have to go, and what Mary's saying also with that card, we do seek, you know, this knowledge to find ourselves, but we don't have to seek outside for the answers. Why? Our truth is that which dwells in our hearts, not our heads. So, you know, when we get out of our heads and think that we have to go to a building to worship and, you know, to find that outside of ourselves, and yeah, that all that glitters ain't gold. No. Everything that we seek is inside ourselves. The answers are inside. You know, the kingdom of God is inside us already. So yeah, fool's gold. Have we been fools in thinking that we have to go to high establishments to find the divine in ourselves, you know, to find something we've been looking for, only to uncover it's metal, you know, it's not gold. And I want to speak about the crystal now and why it's named fool's gold. So I wrote it down before coming on, the automatic writing. So miners would find it apparently thinking they've struck gold, they've struck it rich, only to find it was worthless iron, hence the fool's gold title. Yeah, all that glitters is not gold, and that's the message. Have we been fools in thinking that we need to seek outside ourselves, we need to go to other places, to buildings, to these buildings that, you know, hold power and suppression, you know, because Mary Magdalene, her voice, her teachings, and Yeshua, they were silenced for many, many centuries, you know. Have we been fools in thinking that Mary was just a follower of Yeshua? She's saying she was not. She was an equal to Yeshua. She walked beside him, not behind him. She held very, very powerful teachings that needed to be silenced. So control could be asserted, and the divine feminine energy could be suppressed. Hence why fool's gold. You know, have we been fools in thinking what we've been told for centuries and centuries, our parents before us, our ancestors, that Mary was this fallen woman, you know? Yes, we have been fools, she's saying, but not in the context of, you know, calling us fools. Yeah, I knew this was just not a crystal message. My channel is just not that, you know. I will speak about crystals, I'll speak about my journey as a twin flame and the connection to Mary Magdalene and Yeshua and all of that, you know. But there's higher messages in what I speak of. It comes from the divine, you know, channeling through me. So let's see, another message from Mary. Yeah, you know, you don't need to seek outside what we all hold inside. We just need to look inside our heart, and the answers are there, you know. Our heart's our heart's, you know, calling us home all the time. We just have to go into that stillness to hear it. And you know, the fawn path, This is our path back home to our heart, back home to our rose. By taking this thorn path and watering my ferns and cutting through and not eradicating them but healing and looking into the wounds and the traumas and the mother and the father wounds, all of that, you know, that goes very, very deep. This was my path leading me back to my heart, my rose. And by rose I mean blooming, you know, that rose that's had sunlight and water, it's nourished. It can bloom now. It can see the light, the saying. It can see daylight. It's not a fool anymore. It's not under that veil. It's not being lied to anymore. You know, it's not being controlled. That fool gold, you know, it's turned into this rose. Flourished. You can see daylight. And it says here, so, for thou that fear Mary Magdalene, the Christ, fear the true powers of the divine feminine and thy sacred heart. Yeah, my cards are flying out. Just what I was saying, just what Mary was saying, is saying. Her voice was feared, her teachings was feared. Why? Because if we found out, you know, we truly stopped being fooled by high establishments, power, you know, authority, control, suppression, patriarchy, all of that, then what would happen? There would be no need to go outside ourselves. There would be no need to go where we are being controlled. You know, so the divine feminine and thy sacred heart. So the divine feminine energy is that of truth, you know, nature, loving, unconditional love. And when we find that for ourselves, that's when we find the truth, we find answers we've been seeking. Our hearts are opening. And then, you know, that then sends us on this path to finding our truth. Not just our truth, but what's been hidden. You know? Fool's gold. All that glitters is not gold. It's Mary's message. These higher establishments, what we've been told, the veil. You know, we've all been saying we've been asleep. It's like we've had that sleeping potion off, you know, the Yellow Brick Road, Dorothy, Wizard of Oz, where they tried to put them to sleep in that poppy field. We've all been to sleep for a very long time, she's saying. But no, the divine feminine is rising. And the divine masculine also, she's saying it is not about drowning out the divine masculine energy. It is about the divine feminine energy and the divine masculine energy rising together in true harmonic balance. Time is now for it to balance. And when we find that balance, this fool's gold, you know, the title it was named. This is we find our true gold, in the sense of we find our hearts, our truth. We, you know, we're no longer under that veil. We are awake at this point, you know. Once that veil lifts, we awake. We're not asleep in that poppy field anymore. you know, Glinda, she makes it snow for Dorothy and her friends. Mary Magdalene, her teachings, her voice, she's making it snow for us. She's waking us all up. Also Yeshua, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, who are equal, who have always been equal. She did not walk behind him, she walked beside him. That is why Yeshua trusted Mary Magdalene above all. She was the first one to see him rise. She's seeing all the divine feminine energy rising now. She's very, very proud of the light workers, the light seeds, the divine feminines, divine masculines also, that are bringing this back to, you know, humanity. It was always going to return. Returning profit is what I keep getting through. Returning profit. She was always going to return. The silence was always going to be unveiled, you know. These teachings that we hold the kingdom of God inside us already. We hold that inside us. We don't need to search outside ourselves for the answers. Has returned. The time is now, she's saying. And are you seeing 44? 444s. Any more messages, Mary? Yeah. So this one. It is thy that are the keepers of the divine knowledge that becomes hidden when one chooses to flee from thy sacred heart. Yeah, this sacred knowledge. It's been hidden. Why? Our hearts. So that sleep potion also put our hearts to sleep. And by waking up, we've woken our hearts up. When you wake your hearts up, this sacred knowledge returns. The truth returns. Any more? That's it from Mary. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, she wants me to read this. So, in these oracle cards, beautiful, beautiful, channeled by beautiful lady. It says here, the tablets contain the teachings of Mary Magdalene. In the divine moments with her husband Yeshua, Mary Magdalene ignited the 7 gates of heaven for her beloved, and he ignited the same in return. Now I've come across the 7 gates of heaven when Mary Magdalene's come through, you know, over the years. It rings a bell, you know, 7 gates of heaven. is that the gates that we have to go through, go through and heal to reach heaven, the heaven inside self. Seven is a number that always comes up for me also, and 7 is the life path number of a true spiritual seeker, the seeker of knowledge. Yeah, I've walked these 7, I've faced these 7 gates on my twin flame journey. So yeah, there'll be more on that. The 7 gates of heaven. But they want me to pull some more cards, and then I shall speak about the crystal benefit. Spirit has a plan, And these cards are a lot of positivism. This card, look how beautiful that card is. Through meditation, I see clearly beyond the veils of illusion. Yeah, we no longer, are this fool. We see beyond that veil. That veil's been lifted. And yeah, when I started to go into meditation, things became more clearer and clearer, and I became a clearer channel also for spirit, my angels, high divine feminine masters, also masculine, light beings. I became that channel. Why? This veil was lifting. Things was returning more clearly to me. At this point, so that sleep I'd been under, I was slowly waking up, the awakening. That was my awakening. When this veil started to lift, that was me coming out of that poppy field where, the wicked witch tried to put me to sleep. Yeah, and through meditation, I found myself awakening. So beyond the 5 senses and the limitations of time and space, we enter on energetically vast world that connects everything. We tap into this when we are dreaming, working with expanding our consciousness through spiritual practices. When we are visualizing and when we are daydreaming. In these states, we enter other dimensions and frequencies and start seeing beyond the veil of life. Yeah, I started seeing beyond all the programming, all the, you know, what we've been told and meant to believe. I started to see beyond all that, you know, this world, these other worlds beyond this world. I started to see there was more beyond the earthly realm, you know, than what we could see. The third eye chakra is an energetic space holding over to intuition, holding our intuition. Clear seeing beyond the physical eyes and the inner eye, which can perceive life beyond the physical construct. Yeah, started seeing things that nobody else could see, you know. But I could see because that veil, that illusion had been lifted. So this is the place of clairvoyance and all psychic abilities, perceiving synchronicities and signs, co-creating with life through visualising and dream work. The third eye is the inner seer, detached from the veils of illusion between the throat and crown chakras. Yeah, it's where you tap into your consciousness and you see life beyond what you've been taught, and you find, you know, your true path and your soul. You find your soul. Yeah, and wow, when you start waking up, it's like you've been wearing, what's that saying, rose-tinted glasses. For the first time in your life, you start seeing things for what they truly, truly are. That means all areas of your life. These cards, powerful activations in them. Yeah, stop being this fool. The saying. All that glitters isn't gold. So that this, you know, earthly realm, all we've been told, programmed to believe, it's this gold. It's this pyrite. It's yeah, you know, when those miners found this crystal and they thought they'd struck rich, and then they was a bit disappointed to find it was only metal. Yeah, that's how veil lifting. I knew this message had a bit more of a deeper meaning than just speaking about crystals. Could tell all that glitters isn't gold. So yeah, let's get on to the crystal there that can help us with purification, fire, vitality, creativity, passion, bravery, prosperity, good luck, confidence, inspiration, stability, calm, balancing our energies, you know, so divine feminine energy, divine masculine energy, it balances them out. It's also very grounding, which is very, very important. One of the most important things I should say on this spiritual awakening journey of ours is to ground. Why? Because when we ground, we can then bring things into our reality, you know, into the now. When we are grounded, we are in the now. We are not in the past, we are not in the future, we are manifesting in the now. Yeah, very much grounding. And also help with fatigue, which if you've been catching my late morning videos, I'm going to start working with this crystal more. I'm feeling a bit fatigued these days. I know why. A lot of life changes, a lot of big transitions. Lost my dear mum a few months back, so that's still very raw. You know, so yeah, this perfect for fatigue on the spiritual awakening. It's also perfect for the signs of Leo, which I happen to be. But also any signs can work with this crystal. Yeah, and it does attract abundance, you know, and by attracting abundance, you know, this means abundance in all areas, you know. So abundance can mean many things to many people, material, but to me abundance means finding that balance, so balancing out my energies. So when you balance your divine feminine energy, your divine masculine energy, you've really struck gold, is what they're saying. Yeah, you are no longer that you know, that fool behind the veil. That is your true gold, you know. That is when the riches come back to you, you know, your knowledge, your sacred knowledge, that's your true gold. Yeah. Thank you, Spirit. Wow. Wow. Shall I leave it there? Yeah. When that veil lifts, we are no longer, you know, this fool. We are awakened to the knowledge that's been kept from us. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you. And I shall speak to you soon.